Salute, salute, salute. Nicks and Bruises, we are back. I got the delusional one in the building with me.
Yes,
Shout
sir.
out to the Queen. The Queen couldn't make it. She'll be on tonight on Queen's Court. Shout out to Sim as well. The game preview is later on today as well. But let's go. Let's get it. Yo, Black, it's time. Delusional one. How are you, man?
Besides the loser streak, I'm doing good. Doing good on this Monday. Chatting with you is always a pleasure, Tone.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Always a pleasure you joining. I don't know. Should I blame you? Because you've been gone for a minute.
I can't take the blame. Work had me traveling a lot, so I've been missing the games. I haven't been doing my show, and we have been losing. So I don't know. I might have to get back into the zone.
No doubt. You back. I think the Knicks is back. We should be turning things around right now. Got Houston tonight. Obviously, one of the bottom feeders of the league. Can't take anybody lightly though. But they're coming off a back to back, I believe. They played last night.
Not sure about that. Got to
I,
double check that.
I think they are. I think they played last night. But either way, we should definitely take care of business. Man, this feels like the longest week off for me of the whole year. I don't know if it's the losing streak. I don't know if it's how busy I've been at work as well, or what. But oh man, I'm glad to be back for sure. It's been a lot going on during this week. Lot of Knicks blogs. They talking about Randle. And rightfully so. Rightfully so.
Yes.
But the question marks is there. The old wounds have been reopened. If you were not a fan of Julius Randle, this was your time to come out the closet and you know bring out that venom that we saw last year. But let me see. Let me ask you this: what was your thoughts on Randle? If I don't know if you want to call it an emotional breakdown or just antics, whatever you want to describe it as. What was your thoughts of what
Um,
transpired last week?
my thoughts regarding it's coming at the wrong time. At the wrong time. We got one of our guys out, Brunson, out with injury. So everybody's counting on you. You're back to the number one. So when you're back to number one, yes, you're not going to get the calls that you've been getting prior before, or we've seen all across the league that the NBA refs has been kind of the lead of complaints. So it's not like it's just they're calling that on Jules. Jules is not the only one not getting calls. A lot of players are coming out with that. So it's league wide. But then for you to get angry again, bark at your players, coaches, even Quick. Quick was trying to get you from not getting a tech,
Uh-huh.
which you've been getting techs lately. Especially we're down. We don't need that additional bucket for the team. So it was just a lot going on. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And don't forget, I was an advocate prior to getting rid of Jules.
Uh-huh.
I was. And not to sit there and say like I was ready, like, oh yeah, this is why I wanted to get with Jules. I'm like, no, he gradually got me back on the bandwagon of putting up great numbers doing this thing. But it's just he gotta get the mentals right, man. He has to, because they're gonna pick on that in the playoffs.
Uh-huh.
Like players are like teams are gonna pick on that going forward. Like they know that they could get into Julius' head.
So there's definitely a genuine concern for you right now.
100%. 100%. Because you don't know what he can do. He's unpredictable. Yes, he dropped a career high. What was it? 50, 57,
7,
56,
57.
57. It's a great game. We lost the game. Cool. I could live with that. But then the next game, you come back, we lose, you get the tech, you show frustration and anger. And it's just like, all right, Jules, you just came up a nice game, dope game. Let's ride that momentum. Um, and who knows what's going to happen tonight? Like you said, what Jules are we going to get tonight? Someone that's going to come out motivated. Even though the second half, the team did come out and played better. They
Uh-huh.
played better on defensive end. They was knocking down buckets as a team. But who wants to deal with that? Everybody, the reporters wanted to ask questions, so everybody's rushing to that. If I'm a teammate and we go through that, you think I want to answer questions on we just lost? Now we got to
Uh-huh.
deal with something additional of your one of your key players being angered and frustrated, and then you will have to defend. You think these guys really wanted to defend him?
Even well, I think the defense came after after some time to digest
Right.
what transpired. To your point though, quickly had to answer questions that same night, and he did seem uncomfortable. Um, and you know it was almost like that. You know, both teams play hard. Both teams, you know what I mean. He kept saying, "We just trying to win. We just trying to win. We just trying to win." And I get it, but there's a couple things you said that I think we also have to take into consideration. When you say you know we got to live with it, I think with Julius Randle we have to live with it. We got to take the good with the bad, right? And if you know who he is, I don't think there's as much concern about like I agree with you. Bad timing. I was on record saying that night. You know, like what are you doing? But after sitting with it and watching and listening to a lot of people talk about it, this is not anything that's uncommon. You know what I mean? Like you see this throughout the league, from game to game. People get upset. You
Right.
know what I mean? People get upset. People lose their temper. Um, it's really about bouncing back. It's really about the team rallying around. Maybe we didn't win the game, but like you said, we played better in that second half.
Yeah.
Maybe things like this can spark the team. You know, maybe things like this can actually bring the team closer. Like I'm an only child. I don't know if you're an only child or not, but teammates are like brothers, right?
Right.
Brothers fight. Brothers throw hands, like, and then they love each other. I think it's just a heat of the moment thing,
So
and we're gonna see it again and again. But he has to get better at.
nah, I
What were
agree.
you gonna say? And then I'm gonna read some of the quotes of his teammates. You know, coming to his defense, and then we're gonna dissect it and tell me if it's
Right.
just
So with
saying
your
the right thing or meaning what they say.
right. So with your comparison with Jules as the family situation, Jules is like he's like that drunk uncle. You know, you love him, you know, but he's aggressive. He get in your face at family gatherings that you just rather keep your distance. You love him. He's there when you want to celebrate. Cool, let's have fun. But you want to keep your distance, you know, because you don't know all of that. Honestly, you could play basketball with passion. You could love the game. That's how I play it, with the passion. But then it's moments that you need to understand and pick. And Jules just don't get those moments. Like it's the referee that normally you get angry at for not getting calls.
Hmm.
That's been in the league for centuries. It's going to continue to be in the league. And then for you to yell at your teammates or your coaches, all that, I'd rather you do that backstage rather than front page while your team is calming you down to keep you like, all right, let's go to the back. We could discuss with that. If that was happening there, no problem. But you're doing it on Front Street in front of everybody, like barking on quick. And then don't forget the tablet situations with one of the assistant
Hmm.
coaches. All that stuff come to your mind. You know, it's just like it's not going to go away. So what superstar is going to want to come and play with that?
I mean,
Exactly. That's
I,
it.
I don't even look at it that way though.
Okay.
I think I look at it a couple different ways. I don't think that is going to deter somebody from wanting to come play here.
Okay.
Depend the and if it does, maybe that's fine. Maybe they're not built
Bill.
for this situation. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not justifying. I wish he didn't do it. I wish he
Sure.
acted better. I wish it was backstage. Um, but I think it was blown way out of proportion. I mean, people talking about he was squaring up, he was about to swing, he was ready to fight. You know what I mean? Like those are the things that when you go that route, now I have to kind of defend them. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But when you're rational about it and say, I wish it didn't happen. I wish it was behind the scenes. He has to be better. I agree with all those things, but I don't think it's to the extent that it would prevent somebody from coming here. Because again, this is as a player. All right, have you seen a former player or a current player speak out about Randle? Um, and potential detriment
No.
or his attitude or he's got to go. The only people that I've actually seen say those things were either fans
Yeah.
or analysts or reporters.
Right.
The
100%.
players, the teammates or the former players, they know this is part of the game. You know what I mean? They know they've seen way worse things go on. Another thing that I think is a strong influence on Randall was his time with the Lakers and who he learned the leadership skills from and who mentored him and Kobe Bryant. Like if you look at Kobe and you look at his history with teammates alone,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? I'm sure Randall has seen this, witnessed it, maybe even been the victim of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I think that has a strong influence on why he is the way he is. You
Well,
know what I
if
mean?
if that's the case, I totally agree. So then the teammates just need to let him be then. In those situations where he get like that, don't try to because you're right. You're right. Just let him be. If he's going to sit there and want to speak with the ref and do all of that, and if y'all try to break it up and he gets aggressive because he wants to get his point across, let him be then, guys. Let him be.
And that's you know verbatim, if you will, what he said to Quickly. Like I told you, don't touch me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and sometimes whether it's right or not, sometimes I mean I spoke backstage with Sim about this the other night. Sometimes I think players just want the technical. Like that's their way of stamping that I'm trying to prove a point.
Prove a point. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, can it be a detriment? Absolutely. My biggest fear is, and maybe it's too late, but of him having the reputation with the referees, and now you lose all benefit of the doubt. Now the whistle comes a little bit quicker.
Right.
Now, hopefully, not true, but now the whistle gets swallowed here and
Right.
there.
That's what I'm
You
worried about.
know what I mean? So there's definitely, like, again, this is not me coming to his defense. This is really me looking at it from a subjective perspective. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I don't know, but yeah, I want to get I want to get some of his teammates' comments. I didn't make any slides, so I'm gonna just read them off. While I get that ready though, if there's any input you wanted to share, by all means, I'm listening. So Emmanuel quickly, he says,
I see
uh,
Stoffer
uh,
said
uh, uh, uh.
that's a little extreme. Who would want to come here? I don't. Um, I mean, I'm just saying if if guys if you seen one of the Knicks key players always aggressive, always yelling at teammates, man, that's just a situation where it's like I might have to look into it a little deeper to see what is his temperament, regarding players or how he is, during practice. So I would love for a superstar to come. You know how I feel. But I'm just saying, that if I'm a superstar, I just want to check that temperature to see how it is.
And not everybody does this. I will say that. You know what I mean? Some people lead different. Some people are quiet. Some people you won't see them be demonstrative at all. Some people sometimes players are looked at as lacking passion and lacking desire when they don't show
Right.
this type of emotion as well. So I'd much rather have a guy that we gotta temper down a little bit here and there, than a guy that we got to try to push and motivate.
Yeah.
Um, so this is a first of all, I think we all get angry. This is Barrett. He's competing. He's competing. Uh, People seen the video or whatever of Randall's behavior, but we all feel like we're trying to compete to win. So we completely understand his competitive spirit, and also one of the things that makes him really good is his competitive spirit. So if you know what I mean, you take that away from him, how much does that affect his performance on a positive end as well? You know what I mean?
It's weird. Everybody uses something different to get them going. I can only base it for me playing ball. So yeah, I can pick a moment of where somebody's giving me buckets. I'm like, all right, cool. That's going to get me going. I could turn me up, right? Or for Julius instant, I can't see him barking at the refs as something that could kind of get him going, or even at the teammates from trying to calm him down. Um, like opposing player, like him and Jimmy going at it and talking. Yeah, I
Hmm.
like that. You
Hmm.
keep that 100%. But then there's key smart moments where, like, I'm gonna go back to that game where he got the tech. We were only down by 5. That tech put it up to 6, and I believe they have the possession after that, or the opposing
No,
team
we
had the
lost.
possession.
We lost the possession, I
We
believe.
lost the possession. So, and this is nowhere saying that we could have brought the lead closer, whatever, whatever. But it's just a smart time period. Just
Actually,
understanding.
I feel like we could have. I feel like we could
So
have.
it's I'm just relying on that moment. Any other time with Jules and he get frustrated at the team, if that could get him going, then cool. But that particular moment was just like, that wasn't a good thing. And then, even for Quick, um, who knows, that could have took Quickly out of his game as far as
Hmm.
like, like, all right, cool, you're gonna embarrass me in front of the world, blah 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 blah. I'm trying to help you out. He could have came out in his mindset like, all right, now I gotta pass you the ball. Now I gotta run out sets and do all of that. So, but obviously he knew that he can take it, I'm assuming, and these guys are kind of used to it. So, and it worked out, like I said, for that second half. But just with it's one of those situations where we love Jules, but it's just these certain antics sometimes just you just can't live with it.
I'm gonna read my quickly quote, and then I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Um, he says his mentality this season has been great. He's a big part of what we do, so we need him to be at the top of his game. Obviously, I don't know if that's be can be considered a defense. I think that's more of just kind of saying
Yeah,
the right
just
thing.
yeah,
But in all reality, I think his mentality has been better, right?
yeah.
Like we've gone on record on many of shows, giving him kudos about his growth, about his leadership this year. So we do gotta take the good with the bad. My
Yep.
question to you though, being a guy that is on record as wanting us to move on from Randall in the past, whether it's
Hmm.
last year or whatever,
Hmm.
um, does does these antics bring that back? Like, are you bringing it back to where maybe we should move on?
No, no, no. His play outperformed any of the antics that occurred. And it's been quite a few antics this year. It hasn't been a lot.
Hmm.
We can deal with it in moderation. It's just the fact that, we're losing. Brunson is out. We're relying on you. And my focus is with when you're the number one option, can we expect for you to carry the team? Not just put up buckets, not just grab rebounds, but spiritually, mentally, can you gather the team? Can you bring them together? Can you make the proper play? Can you emotionally hold the team down? Because remember, Brunson, that's Brunson. Brunson does all that. He says the right things. He motivate people in a time period. You see at timeouts, he bringing them together, talking about certain things, talking to Tibbs during certain plays, during certain time periods. But what happened with Julius? When he gets frustrated and angry, he's away from the team. He's not engaging into whatever Tibbs offensive scheme he throws up. He goes out the huddle before everybody, breaks away or whatever. So it's just those situations where it's just like, all right, Jules. But his performance has been outplaying any of those antics. So, and I'm with that. I'm with that. As long
Fair
as
enough.
he's the number two, I'm fine with Julius. But when he has to be the number one from that long stretch of period of time,
Hmm.
then that's when it's just like, okay, guys, what are we going to do? You know,
That's an interesting point because um I would say the majority of his antics this year have been without Brunson on the court. Um I don't know if that's a direct correlation or not. Um I definitely like to give Brunson's arrival as credit to or part credit for Randall's change in behavior this year, but I don't want to give all the credit to Brunson. I think obviously you got to work on yourself, which he did, and but that's a great analyst because yeah, most of his antics have been with Brunson on a bench injured. Um, I think maybe Brunson was there for one of them, but for the most part, Brunson been out. Um, let's segue right into Brunson and this latest injury. I think he's listed as questionable tonight. I didn't even know it was a wrist injury. I thought it was still the ankle. Um,
crazy.
s- so my question is: are there any concerns about his durability, or just his injury? I mean, he hasn't missed a lot of time.
No,
You know what I mean? Like by any stretch. You know what I mean?
right.
But it seems like again one is coming at the wrong time. We talk about timing, and you
Yep.
can't control injuries that they just happen. Any concern about long term with his injuries, um, and or just current, like will he play tonight? I mean, granted, it's Houston, but do we need do we need him?
We need him, but if he needs to rest, then definitely let him rest. So with this situation, it's a tough one. So don't forget, this is Brunson first full year as a starter,
And that's where I was going, but correct.
right? So he's
Increased
playing way
minutes.
more minutes.
Yep.
His usage ability, it's skyrocket. I believe his usage, is top 10 in the NBA. So this is, I can't say it's new, but it's new for him because even
Yeah,
in college
absolutely.
you're playing less minutes and all of that, less games. So this is new territory for him. So obviously he got to get his body prepared for that. So that's first. Um, Another one regarding that is for Brunson, it was the ankle injury that occurred. So it's like, okay, cool. He came back that game, did his thing, but then he had to sit out because it's so we understand the ankle injury. But then this wrist injury or whatever, where did this come from? That's my thing. Where did that come from? And do I think it's going to be an issue? Nah, I don't think it's going to be a continuous issue. I think this is a year that he understands. Okay, cool. Let me figure out how to take care of my body. And I said it from jump with how he attacks the paint, how he likes to post up bigger guards. He bangs a lot. And I
Hmm.
said, like, yo, can his body withhold all of this for a full season plus a playoff run? And I'm like, I don't know, but he has been on that Iron Man task of playing most of the games up until late. So is he hitting this wall? I believe it's a possibility. I believe if he's hitting a wall, just need to rest. So with the remaining games that we have, if we start to fall out of this fifth spot, then we got to bring him back. If not, then rest.
Yeah. Um, you definitely took the words right out of my mouth. I think the biggest contribution to his injuries is his increased role, increased minutes, increased usage rate. Um, and I knew at some point that was going to be an adjustment for him anyway.
Yep.
Like it's just inevitable. I mean, even Randall's gone through that over these 4 years. You know what I mean? From never being the number one option, or maybe not even being the top two option. You know what I mean? To learning that role. But I mean, Randall's been Iron Man this year. Um,
But he
and
take
and
care of
and
his
and
body
pretty
though.
and pretty much. as a Nick. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I don't think
last
he's
year,
missed.
but
I
last
don't
year
think
he
he's
missed a
missed.
lot last year down the stretch because that's when Opie was
But
getting
that
lots
was,
of
I think
minutes.
that was a shutdown
Yeah,
type
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Out of contention for playing. Um, let's see what we got in these young guys, and right at that point, I think it was he was probably at the peak of his disdain from fans, media. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
so I think that was the smartest
Oh
thing
yeah, definitely
for
shut
the
that down. Yes,
organization to do
yes,
at that point. You know what I mean? Give him that extra time to get rest and get right. But yeah, I wouldn't even contribute that to like injury or just you know what I mean. He's been pretty solid as an Iron Man for his
yeah.
tenure. Um, am I concerned with Brunson's? I'm concerned more in the long term than I am in the short term,
Okay.
and I say that because he has to figure out how to adjust his body to the rigors of a new role. So first year, I expect this.
Hmm.
How is he going to figure out how do I take these steps to get better? And when I say better, I mean um physically,
Hmm.
mentally. You know what I mean? Not his game. His game is beautiful.
Flawless. Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Good.
and I expect his game to get better as well. But he's got to figure out how to you know, get ready, prepare for these 82 games, high usage rate, high minutes. Um, the team needs you obviously way more than your previous tenure with the Mavs. So I'm just I'm not really concerned, but I know it's he's got to figure that out, and I don't know how you do that. Like, do you take lessons? Do you talk to Randall? Hey, what are you doing to
Yeah, no, they're
prepare
gonna
for
have
these
to work
rigors?
out together. He's probably gonna have to definitely switch up that body because Paul's his body shape it's he's stocky. He's more of a stocky build. So I don't know. Is it something that he needs to slim down to get more toned and add more muscle? I do not know. Honestly, I do not know. Um, or we play quickly a little bit more, just manage the minutes, which Tibbs has been great about. I do want to give Tibbs, the shout out with that. Since we added Hart, the minutes distribution has been great when you think about it. Has been great. Oh
Yeah,
no, no, no,
yeah, I
no,
agree. No way.
no.
No, I mean that's taking a step backwards. Now, granted, obviously, if Zion's healthy,
That's a different story.
I could consider it, but nah, that's taking a step backwards. You talking about a guy who plays every game
Every game.
to a guy that you don't know when he's gonna play.
So he played 30% of his game so far, and what this is his fourth season. It's crazy. And got the bag. I mean, he's worth it too. When he plays, 29 points per game, 60% on the field goal. So yeah, no, he's an ultimate talent, but eating too much of that shrimp gumbo down in New Orleans.
I'm gonna jump back to Randall real quick and ask you a question that I posed to Sim, and I'm interested in your take. Do you think Randall actually needs a vet?
He's a vet. Of course. Of
I
course.
mean,
But
and again, I know this is. I'm not saying Carmelo per se,
mhm,
but I'm gonna use Carmelo as an example of the type of vet that I think he would do wonders for him. Number one, Melo in particular, being from New York, playing in New York, knowing what it takes
right.
to go through. I mean, you want to talk about um disdain from some fans? Melo dealt with that.
Of
You know what I
course.
mean? But number one, whether you love Melo, like them, hate him, or whatever, you have to commend the way he handled New York. And I think now again, it doesn't have to be Melo, but somebody who one is gonna get the respect from Randle off the jump.
Hmm.
Someone in that position, the four, um, because I love what Brunson has done, but he's a point guard.
Hmm.
He's a smaller man. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, I just feel like a vet that like you wouldn't see Randall do. It's the same thing with when he played with Kobe. You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you're looking up to that man regardless, even if you're currently better. You know what I mean? Currently better, you still gonna have respect and take his advice, and you know what I mean. Like have somebody that you could turn to and understands your plight,
Right.
if you will. Um,
That's
I,
a that's a tough one, honestly. We definitely need a vet, but I'm trying to pinpoint because I can't say it's Melo because yes, on the aspect of Melo being in New York, he can, show them ropes regarding that. That's cool. I think what Jules need is someone that won the championship, someone that knows what it takes to on that mental standpoint level. And it's like I just don't know who. We had Todd's Gibson. Todd's for us was our vet. He's the one
he,
that went through all aspects. Who Taj can talk to you on all levels. Played the power forward position, and a different time period. And now, but Taj wasn't elite at like scoring and doing all of this. That was in the forefront. So when you want to compare that to get him over the hump, it's tough. Would you think that D Rose, but obviously it's not. So yeah, Rose is different. Rose is more so for the Quickleys, the Josh Hart, the Brunsons to kind of motivate and get them going, teach them
mhm.
that aspect.
and
For
and and that's always been my point. Like with Rose, Randall had Mook, right? and Mook would be he would fit that bills
right,
today as well. You know what I
right.
mean? Like when uh, again, I know somebody said get over Mello. Who is it? Jay Will. Forget about
Oh,
Mello, bro.
we
I'm
would
I'm not
never get over
again.
Melo.
When number one, I was only using Melo as an example because he's been here before and to try to paint the picture.
Right.
But yes, I am a Melo guy, and if he was back, I wouldn't be mad at it. But I
I
wasn't
love it.
specifically referring to Melo, and this is why I say Mook would fit that bill still.
Hmm.
Um, I think he needs somebody in his position that's a vet. You know what I mean? And a guy like Mook would take away some of those dirty duties. You know what I mean?
Right.
Maybe Randall doesn't get the technical. Maybe Mook does. You know what I mean? Maybe Randall doesn't have to be the. I don't want to call him the bruiser or the enforcer, but
He gonna
you know what
have
I
to.
mean? Like
Yeah, we ain't got nobody.
he has to be our enforcer at this
Right.
point. What I was trying to say is I don't want him to impose himself on referees and for you know what I mean, like enforcer in that manner.
Right.
But maybe Mook could take that spot. And again, I'm not saying trade for Mook. I'm just saying that veteran at
Right.
his position.
So,
So
but
what's your
maybe
thoughts on that?
it doesn't have to be a player, So remember when we had Kenny Payne. Kenny Payne was that outlet for Jules. As you can see, he was the one that kept Jules intact because we didn't see that first year he was there. When Kenny Payne left, that's when Jules started to, switch up and do all of that. So maybe we bring in Pat. We go bring Pat on a bench. That's the ultimate big in Knicks history. Pat's not coaching anymore. Bring him on a coaching staff. Maybe he could sit there and give him, that shoulders to kind of lean on, give him direction. I mean, also help out in his post up games. Now, Oakley would be the ultimate pickup, but we all know what happened with Oakley and MSG. But that will be Ashley. I'm not mad at that. That would be solid. That would be solid if he didn't have the beef. If he didn't have the beef with James,
Um, even even if we could have Mike Woodson back on the bench, I think that would help as well.
even Mike. Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I mean that's a great point. Maybe it doesn't have to be a player. Um,
Go get it like a KG or somebody, or one of those old players that understand that. And mind you, KG was an aggressive player.
mm-hmm.
He's a dragon, but you didn't really see KG wilding out to that extent to refs and all of that. He understood what to do. He played mind games on opposing players, but you didn't see him kind of spaz out to on referees or teammates like that. But we can make it work.
Yeah. So
And
okay,
no, I was going to agree with was it all the wise?
Alawaz.
Yeah, 100%.
Shout out to Allah. Shout out to the whole chat. Appreciate y'all for jumping in here with us.
Definitely hit that like button too while we here. We're trying to get the algorithm going. You know, Nick and Bruises. We taking it worldwide, ladies and gents. Hit that like button.
we try. And always again, shout out to the Queen. Look out for her show tonight, Queen's Court. I'll be there. Pre-game with Sim, post-game with Sim. Should I even say it? I ain't gonna say it. We'll do it when it happens. I ain't trying to jinx us, but the other show too. We are in prime position for the stretch run. Thanks for the Nets beating the Heat, and then thanks for who the Nets lost to
Yeah,
last
the
night.
Nets lost the other night. Yep.
Thanks to that, you know what I mean. Keeping things back to where they supposed to be. Now we just got to take care of our business, and the we control our own destiny still, like which is great. We had a horrible week last week. I don't really want to talk about that no more. I want to talk moving forward. Like this game is definitely winnable. Um, whether we
Rockets,
have
man. Those
what
those guards are aggressive, man.
they are. They are, but we I think the rest that we got, this 3 days off, I think that could not have come at a better
Better time.
time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Coming off 3 game losing streak. My bad. I just see. Come on. I got. He said, "I'll say it. Losers lounge tonight." I feel you, bro. That's right. Losers lounge tonight. Coming off that 3 game losing streak, 3 days rest. I think we needed it. We talk about Randle playing every game, and you talked about people need. I think you said that today. People needing some time off sometimes,
Mhm.
or maybe that was another show I was watching earlier. I'm not sure, but um, he don't want to miss games. So 3 days off, get some rest. Get a full day off, no practice, no nothing. Go get in the jacuzzi, get your mind right, light some incense. You know what I mean? I think that's gonna be great for him. Bounce back game. So yeah, we need that. Then we got the Heat again.
Mhm.
And this time the Heat will be coming off a back to back because they play Tuesday, then they play us Wednesday. So, you know, we
Good
should be
stuff.
able to take advantage. You know what I mean? Take advantage of a tired team. And we got revenge on our mind this time. You know what I mean? So I think these next 2 games, if we win these next two, you know what I mean, we might even be clinched at least the 6th seed because I don't foresee um them catching us, either one of them, the Nets or the
Let's
Heat.
Miami.
Or
Well, we got to finish out every game solid. And not to say that we have to be perfect, but let me see. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
7.
7 games. Lord, we got to go at least 4-3 or 5-2. To sustain our pace for the 5th seed. I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I'm saying fifth or I'm saying clinch. Like
To clinch
avoid
the
the
playoffs,
play-in.
period. So
Yeah,
that's what you want to settle for?
I'm not settling for anything. I'm just saying. I'm saying once we get that
Once
out
we're in
the
the
way,
playoffs,
you know what I
that's
mean.
it.
That
Well,
that's one less thing to worry about, and then
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You still trying to win out, no
right.
doubt. We're trying to win out.
So fifth and sixth, 100%, either Cleveland or Philly. So yeah, yeah, I'm down. I'm down.
Yeah, and I'm going to either one of them home games for sure. Or road games, I should say. Them first, one of them first two games. Um, what else did I have on my docket? I think let me check real quick. Anything you want to throw in there before
I do want to throw out a couple stuff because I haven't really been on my show. So there's a couple things I wanted to kind of throw out on my show is that I'm definitely disappointed in my Knicks. You know, I was pushing very hard for us to win 50 games. I said that from on the Queen show during the All-Star break. And we came out firing, we came out hot, and I was walking around with my chest out. I was looking like, hey, you know, I was holding it down for the chat. Then, of course, the injuries occurred, and then we're losing to teams like the Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic, you know, things of that nature. Our defense is falling, you know. Then, of course, Julius is, you know, losing his mind doing certain plays. So ultimately, the team just need to get back to Knicks basketball and playing the defense. We've been getting killed on defense these last couple games. Let's get back to playing defense. The offense is there. That hasn't really been an issue. Quickly still been balling. You still getting plays from Hart, who's been phenomenal. Um, but then Mitch, though, ever since Mitch came out and was talking about him playing cardio, his defensive effort has went down. You know, so it's all these stuff surrounding the team lately, which is like, why? This is just bad time. So I don't know. The Knicks just we just got to get it going. Whether it's mentally, figure out on that end, Mitch not being happy, feed Mitch the ball, give Mitch some possessions. You know, you see how they little by little we give Hardenstein some of the post plays, and he kind of go to work, and then he misses some of the shots as well. But
on?
it's a team, man. We just got to figure it out internally first, and then defense, and then we be rocking. And I definitely need that Knicks to go like 4-3, close it out 5-2, and go into this playoffs runs. Now, question for you though: are you happy with a first round exit, or you think that we should compete if we're going against uh Cleveland to at least make it to the second round?
I think we should beat Cleveland. I'm not happy with a first round exit. I'm not happy with a first round exit, no matter the opponent.
Okay.
But I'm also not killing the team just because we lose.
Mhm.
It's gonna be based off how we play.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We cannot play an uncompetitive series. But no matter what, I think it's a evaluation period. You know what I mean, from a front office standpoint, as far as what are we missing?
Mhm.
What do we need? We brought in one missing piece in Brunson. Um, I think we already brought in our final piece in Hart,
Hard, 100%.
even though it's not the last. We got the final piece early, basically. That's the way I feel with Hart, because he's one of those guys that finishes off the puzzle, if you will, when you build in a championship team. You can insert him on anybody in the top five in the East or West, and they will happily accept him,
Hmm.
find a role for him, and he will fit in seamlessly with any contending team. So I think we have that piece. It's really going to be a we got to see what we're missing, or where the upgrade needs to be inserted. You know what I
Right.
mean? This is going to be crucial for Mitch, as far as, okay, first playoffs. Um, can you elevate your game? Can you sustain who you are? Maybe not elevate your game. Just, you know what I mean. Be consistent in what you do, and is
Mhm.
that enough, or do we need more from that position? Um, Same thing with RJ Barrett. I think it's evaluation period. Can you elevate in the playoffs? Can you peak in the playoffs? Um, I mean, Randle as well. Same with Barrett. You know what I mean? Like both of you, can you perform
Yeah.
at your normal level, let alone excel? So I think it's a lot of evaluation that have to be going on. But one of the biggest things is going to be like, where can we upgrade and where do we need to upgrade? Um, I think that's what we're evaluating. Shout out to Craig. He says, do you brothers think the Mavs are tanking, losing to the Hornets back to back so we don't get their pick? That's actually one of my topics, so I'm gonna go there first just because you brought it up. I mean, they currently in the 10th seed, sliding. That would not convey if the playoffs or the season ended today, unless somehow they fell back. And the only way they would fall back is if somebody in front of them or behind them, Bulls, Lakers, Thunder, Raptors, somehow move up with lottery odds. So yeah, I don't think they're losing on purpose. I really don't. But I did not see them falling the way they've been falling. I've been monitoring in Tankathon where they are daily, and this is the lowest they've been. Oh man, what are your thoughts on this mass pick? Do you even care if it
I care.
conveys or not? Um, yeah. What are your thoughts on them sliding? I
Yeah.
don't think it's on purpose. Let's start with Craig's question. Do you think
Yeah.
they
So I
taking
don't
it
think
for
it's on purpose. I definitely
okay?
don't. With the intention of them bringing over Kyrie, trading away one of their picks and stuff to get Kyrie, and make that push. That's why they made that move. Honestly, they could have just stayed put with what team they had, and kept that other draft pick if that was the case. And then of course, Kyrie could potentially leave without signing up or anything. So for you to give away a draft pick, just to lose, nah, definitely don't think that. Now with this pick, I'm definitely monitoring the pick. This is the only pick the Knicks have in the first round this year. So, and it could potentially be from a potential 1 to 16 or 1 to 11 type situation. So yeah. And the reason why is I can go anyways for the Knicks. The Knicks can actually draft a big wing, D&3 wing, and keep him and stash him and develop him and potentially bring him in like a Grimes. Or you can use that pick, which is could be 11 to 12, 13, in a trade for a superstar. Because now teams know where that pick is at. They didn't know what that pick was going to be prior before. But if you know, like, hey, that's in the lottery, we might potentially get something. And then of course you have the Knicks other draft pick. So it you can utilize it. It's either or. So that's why I'm paying attention to it. If Dallas continue to lose, and let's say they fall out and they get a top 8 pick, Dallas gonna want to keep that pick. Well, they're going to keep it because
Yeah, it's
it's
theirs.
protected. So
um, yeah, I can't see them continuing to lose. I think they're too talented to lose. Maybe that's just wishful thinking though, because like you said, I want the pick as well. I've been
right.
monitoring it daily, and it's been excitement. And then I was watching before the games played out. I knew if they lost last night, they was dropping a 10.
Mhm.
And the way this whole season is going, like these teams are so close to each other,
It's
like
it's
East
crazy.
and West
Crazy.
in that spot in that tankathon spot. It's nuts. But
But I didn't expect the West to be like how it is. Like each
no,
team is literally 1 or 2 games apart, all the way down from like the 4th seed, all the way down to the 11th. That's
yeah,
crazy.
and kudos to the NBA because me personally, I love this play-in tournament, and years like this with records like this is I think that's the idea that they had in mind when they
So,
implemented it.
but don't forget,
Every now and again, and we'll see it eventually. You'll have a I don't want to say let's say a 29 win team get to the 10th seed somehow,
Right.
and then but if they beat the two teams that they beat to
It's
get
crazy.
into the playoffs, yo, you gotta give them
You
they
got
respect.
respect it.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I understand that team that has the real good record and deserves to be in the playoffs, and then they lose two games, and then they out. But hey, I like it, man. That it brings competitiveness to the very end of the season.
I agree.
Um and I think it really does help that tanking situation, because now teams have to take into consideration what's more important,
Mhm.
long term, short term. Some teams are gonna get in the playoffs and have a lottery pick. You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I was saying.
With
That's an option.
which is awesome for the that's a middle of a pack team that gets an opportunity to really elevate their team moving forward. So I think it brings that, not only competitiveness into the season, but that competitiveness in, as far as like upgrading your teams, and really um having teams on equal playing fields. You,
Mhm.
you, you know what I mean? Um, which is going to be great. And if that happens over time, we're going to see more of this, where records are so close at the end of the year. You know, teams are really going to be battling it out. Good teams are going to get booted.
Yeah.
Mediocre teams are going to excel. And I like it because it brings that. I didn't really like the league when we kind of knew it was gonna be Warriors, uh, Cavs.
Warriors Cavs for
You
like
know what I mean? Like,
eight
the
years
regular
straight.
season was boring as you know what I mean. All hell. So I like this implement.
So when they first brought it out, I didn't like it. I did not like it at all because during that time period, it was only the West that had competitive teams that were close, and it was affecting the playoffs where you had a 50 win team not make the playoffs. That's when it became an issue. Where it's just like, bro, we won 50 games, but the fact that we're in the West, we in the ninth seed, tied, and we didn't make the playoffs. So that's with that. My issue is when they brought it over, I'm like, yo, my Knicks wasn't competitive at the time. So I'm
Mhm.
like, man, like
It didn't help us. It
it
didn't,
didn't help, right?
but it didn't hurt us. That was
But
the
then
that.
because we were top seeded, so that's what I'm like, all right, I don't know. Maybe this is a good thing. But then, of course, the East become competitive because a lot of the players jumped from the West came to the East. But then this shows you how kind of good this Knicks team is when the East Coast is stronger than the West. And we're still maintaining and we're still balling. So that's just like, all right, cool. We got something going. So it's a gift and a curse. I'm with it now as long as we don't have to go through that loophole of being in the later round and having to play multiple games. Because like you said, it could go either or.
Mhm.
It could go either or during that time period.
And I like it for teams that, good teams that dealt with some injuries early in the year or whatever the case. It gives you that opportunity to still bounce back if you get healthy late in the year. I'm gonna run a couple of names by you, and first let me shout out Fanside. It says 5 potential disgruntled superstars the Knicks could be monitoring for off-season trades. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna name the names. You give me your thoughts on if you like them for the Knicks, and if you think it's a possibility.
Sounds good.
Um, First guy they put up there. Wait, hold up. I said five. Did I skip one? I might have skipped one. All right. First guy they put out there is Zach Levine. Obviously, we've talked about this in the past. Um, do you think the Knicks are monitoring? Do you like the fit? Do you think we could pull it off?
Uh, yes, yes, and yes. 100%. I'm all in on the Zach Levine. And the reason why I'm all in on the Zach Levine is you got another player with some height. Excuse me if I like to throw out height there, where he's what about 6'6", 6'7", who can create. He's athletic. His 3-point shooting is better than pretty much anybody on the Knicks except for Brunson. He can score down the stretch. I don't think he's that injury prone as people see him as, but he would be a solid piece with Brunson, not even Randall. I just think him and Brunson together is solid. That's why I would do that. Obviously, we will have to put Barrett in the trade. As much as I love Barrett, I appreciate Barrett's game when he's not shooting jump shots, when he's going to the rack, drawing fouls. But just look at Levine's numbers lately. Just look at it. That man can give you buckets, and he doesn't have to take as many shots. He gets to the line. He can knock down threes. His shooting percentage. He's attacked the paint. He can score left or right hand, so he's not limited on that court. So I'll say yes.
Um, let me get one comment up there. Sharon, he already said no, no Levine. Levine defense is in mind. And then he says Levine is 6'5" like Grimes. I thought he was 6'6" or 6'7",
I thought he was that. Let me let's look that up real quick.
but he definitely is saying no Levine. I have questions about Levine too. I mean, not even questions. If I'm probably leaning towards no.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's based more off defensive concerns and then injury concerns. Like those are my two big concerns with Levine. Um,
Yeah,
it's
Zach
not
is
a
6'5".
6'5".
He's 6'5".
Oh wow. Um, I did not know that, and that's a big difference in
I still take him
why I was saying yes at times
as opposed to
because
no.
I thought he was 6'7". You know what I mean? 6'6",
Right.
6'7". So that's I don't know. You talk about Grimes defensively and
Dude,
offensive
he's a better
potential.
defender than Barrett right now.
Levine?
Zach. Zach,
Okay.
yeah. That's all
Well,
that matters.
fair enough. Fair enough. And the money. The money. It's like there's reasons why I'm concerned. It's not a definitive no,
Right.
but it's also not um
It's not an easy yes.
an easy yes. You know what I mean? It's gonna be based off what we're giving up, what's the cost. Like it's a lot of things. Like sometimes I feel like you could get another player cheaper, and the impact may be the same or better. I go with the cheaper option.
Right.
Next guy they got up is a guy we're gonna see on Wednesday, Jimmy Butler.
Now,
Oh,
Jimmy is
hold
the
on, hold on,
ultimate piece.
hold
But
on,
go ahead,
hold
go
on,
ahead.
hold on, hold on. Let me one shout out my my daughter because that's her favorite player. She will not convert to the Knicks. I've tried. You see the pictures on the wall of me and my daughter at the
Yeah.
garden. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what it is. Maybe I just pushed her too hard and pushed her away from the Knicks. But she's a Heats fan. Um, we had a bet after the last game with the Heat, the previous game, that if the Knicks won, my daughter was gonna come on the losers lounge and, and tell us how she felt. But the Knicks didn't win, and then we have a bet coming on Wednesday. If the Knicks win or if the Knicks lose, I gotta buy a Heat jersey and wear it on the show. So we need that win on Wednesday. I just had to say
That
that.
way.
But yeah, Jimmy Butler. After that game, not the last game, but the 2 games ago against the Heat, when Randle went off.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had 40 something that game. Yeah, and the game winner, right? You see how Butler was looking at Randall? I swore it was looking like he was saying, "I want to be here."
Yeah, let me come
Like
on that
like I
side.
could I
Yeah.
could fit right here. You know what I mean? I think he would fit with next to RJ Barrett. I think
Oh,
he
he
would.
got RJ got to go if that trade happens though.
We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah,
We don't know.
yeah, it's true. It's
It
true.
could be draft pick incentivized more than player incentivized,
Okay.
depending on the
What direction
cause.
Miami's trying to go? Right.
Exactly. So I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Barrett has to be included. But with or without Barrett, I feel like Butler works. Next to Grimes or next to Barry, I think he works.
100%, 100%. You got to understand. So we got Coach Tibbs. That's it. We got Coach Tibbs. So Tibbs like a certain player. You know, when they brought over Josh Hart, you saw what a Tibbs player can look like. You know, well, you know how a player can look like under Tibbs when it's his style of play. Now, Butler's the ultimate mold. He drafted Butler. He took Butler through the rings of having him on the bench, not playing him as much, developing him, and then boom, Butler pretty much showcased what he can do. So Butler is that player that I say if you could bring him on the team right now, and we're finals bound, I believe. You know, you bring him in, slide him in at that small forward spot. Um, I would, as crazy as it sounds, yeah, I think we can compete in that Eastern Conference round because Butler can defend is the first one. He can score in key moments when he need to, and he has a level that he can take it to. We saw in the
Hmm.
finals
Hmm.
where it was just him and he was balling out on all levels. When he
And
wants to play, he can play. Let's just put it like that.
he can defer. So
Yes.
it's not like he has to be top dog.
Right.
You know what I mean? If he needs to be top
Mhm.
dog, he can be top dog.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But he doesn't have to be
No.
as he's like a selfless ego, if you will, um, in a sense, because he definitely
Yeah,
has an
no.
ego.
He's similar
Um,
to Jokic. You know, when he needs to turn it up, he can. But he knows that hey, I'm gonna get the team involved, get them hot. You know, because he knows that team basketball wins championship. And then when it's time for him to close the game, if it's close or do all of that, I'm gonna give you buckets.
Butler turns 34 in September. Sherwin says, "I'm assuming that's a pass on Butler
That don't
because of
mean
age." I don't,
anything.
I don't, I disagree.
Don't mean anything.
Let's
Depending
see.
on his contract.
Um, there we
100%.
go. We truth to listen. Let me go on record on saying I wanted Butler the year we got Randle. I
Mm.
believe that was the year he was a free agent. I wanted Butler. Yeah, the year he went to Miami, I wanted Butler, and I don't think I had a channel then. I think it was on Sim's channel. I mentioned it, and the chat killed me.
It'll be
Killed me. Like I that's one of those things I never let it go. So any chance I get to bring bring it back,
bring it up.
oh, he's not a superstar. And my argument wasn't that he was a superstar. My argument was he's built for New York. You know what I mean? And
He's a tip guy. Yeah.
I think and yeah, this you know what I mean, this pre-tips, this is I just knew that's the kind of guy we need here. You know what I mean? Like he's just tough as nails, physically and mentally. You know what I mean?
Now the thing you think that Randall and Butler would clash as
I,
far as just the competitiveness, the ego-ness, the
if even if they clashed, I think it would be a good clash.
good clash.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? Like it'd be like the Big Bang Theory. So like it's a Big Bang, but what
Look
happens
left. Okay.
afterwards? You
Okay.
know what I mean? It became the world. You know what I mean? Like
Got you.
so
Got
so
you.
I think he's a great fit. I haven't seen many responses on I mean a couple Me Too's,
Yeah,
you
a couple
know.
of people vouch with that. Yeah, Butler's that guy, honestly. And like you said, he's not that player that sticks out like, oh my god, I'm gonna get you 40 a night. Da 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 da. He said it himself. He's like, yo, during the regular season, I take my time. He said, because when it's playoff time, that's
Yeah,
when I'm taking my game up. I'm giving you
elevation.
everything I got. And that's and look right now, they're making a push. Well, we thought they were out the playoffs. Now look at them 2 games back. Hold on, might have to look at those numbers though, because if those numbers is like that for the next 3 years, then
Yeah, that definitely
that's looking right.
that changed. I'm not sure. I just noticed it, and I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? That makes
So
things,
then, I mean, look, if you want to win a
but
championship,
it becomes win now. He's a
Right.
win now.
That's a
You know what I
win now
mean?
situational move. So yeah, I'll still do it. If I was willing to give that up for Zach, I'm still willing up to give that for Jimmy.
3-point shots this season.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
That I guess that would be my concern
Because
if
remember,
he's
we're not a
paired.
great 3-pointer shooting team, period. But yet we're still top 10 in efficiency.
That would be my concern if he's slotted with Barrett.
But yeah, nah,
If he's
I don't think
replacing
so.
Barrett, you know what I mean, and we still
Right,
have
right.
Grimes, I think that might, you know what I mean. Oh my goodness, our defense would be retarded. I mean, I should you can't say
So
that no more.
I was
Would
thinking
be
Hart
crazy.
and Butler in that starting lineup, and you bring
He-
Grimes
he-
off the bench. But like I said,
he-
either way, the defense is going to be disgusting. Either way.
the next guy is another guy I've been high on. Uh, Jalen Brown. I
Now,
mean,
Jalen Brown,
I've gone on record as questioning whether Brown is better than Tatum. I like Brown better than Tatum. I felt like that for about 4 years now. Granted, Tatum has elevated his game since then, but he still hasn't reached the defensive level
right,
of a Brown.
right,
And Brown has gotten better offensively year in, year out. You know what I mean?
right,
So I mean that's another argument. I'll let the Celtics fans argue that
right.
one.
You let them deal with that.
But he
You know,
seems like he could be disgruntled, or I'll say this: he seems as though Boston is not a surefire city for him. The city of Boston,
it's not.
um, who he is as a. I don't even get into the reasons of why. You know what I mean? But it feels like the only thing that's going to keep him there is full max. You know what I mean? Like maximum money that they're allowed to pay him. Other than that, I think he weighs his options. I think if they have an inclination that he's not gonna resign, I think they move him. I don't even
Mhm.
think he has to request the trade. I think that organization is smart enough to kind of read the room,
Yep.
and so I think there's a chance he is moved either way, whether he requested or not, just by not being by being non-commit metal. So yeah, Brown. I like him. I would put him above Butler in my pecking order for the simple fact he's younger and it makes that window a lot wider, open a lot longer than with Butler. I think we have a 3 year window if we get Butler. I think Brown, the window is back to, you know, 7 year window where we could compete with this guy. And this team. I think it's perfect fit as well. Defensive guy, still elevating his game. 3-point shot has improved. Um, my only concern with Brown is does he leave Boston because he wants an expanded role, a bigger role? He wants to be the guy. And I mean, some people may not see that as a concern. So can he be the guy if he comes here? Or is there a pecking order, and is he okay with that? So that would be my only question mark concern about Brown. But as a player, same as Butler, only younger, I think perfect fit.
Yeah, no, they I totally agree. Brown is pretty much a similar player as Butler, player that came in as a defensive player that honed his game on the defensive end and made himself a great offensive player. Um, so for that situation, what you were saying, Tatum, I think obviously Tatum is better. He's a better one-on-one player, but Brown is a better team player. Brown can fit in a system. He can fit on a Tibbs team. To sit there and say, could he be the player? No, this is Brunson's team. This anybody who comes here is Brunson team. Like Brunson stabled. He set that tone. So and Brown will fit right in with that.
My point though is, does he want to be the guy?
I don't think so. I don't think that's on the cerebellum for him. I don't think
He
so.
hasn't said anything of that
Yeah,
magnitude.
I
So
don't think so.
it's only come from outside speculation. But I will say the people that I've heard say that
Hmm.
have been former players, not the
Mm,
analysts, not
mm.
the what I mean, the reporters, if you will. So I
Right.
always, when it comes from the former players, I always take
You
it
listen to it more. Yeah, yeah.
a
Makes
little bit
sense.
more. You know what I mean? Whether it's inside information or just being in that type of situation before, and knowing I mean, he feels undervalued. Shout out to, I think, Sherman. He said it's about him always being in
In trade situations,
trade
100%.
talks. So
Any trade scenarios came up, his name came involved. And as an organization and as a player, you got to understand that you're the second best player on the team. Tatum is the key guy, so of course you're going to be thrown in these trade scenarios. So for him, he's like he wants to be somewhere where he's wanted. Look, if you want to go to a team that's going to play you 40 48 minutes a game, you want a head coach that's going to allow you to play defense and get buckets, come to death row Knicks. Pretty much. Come to the Knicks. You'll be fine.
I agree. Now, and then to give pushback on my previous statement about him wanting to be the guy, and it's not me saying he is. I'm saying what if. Um, but what I will say is, I don't think he would have to feel like if I was the man in Boston, we would have won already, as opposed to, you know what I mean? Like, he would have to have that mentality for it
Right.
to be
And
a detriment, and I don't see that. And being that he's been in the playoffs all these years, I mean, runs to the final, runs to the Eastern Conference final,
he's battle tested.
right on the cusp. Well, number one, I was gonna say I don't think he would want to, this is just throwing it out there, go to Houston, be the man, but not be in position to
to
win.
to win. Right.
So I think the winning, knowing that, you know what I mean, you've been right there on the cusp, I think he would want to stay in that realm,
Hmm.
as opposed to saying, I want to be the guy, like what Jeremy Grant did, coming from Denver, successful team. They were willing to pay you the same money, but he wanted the role
He
of
wanted to
being
roll.
the guy.
Yep.
But then he went to
Came to
Detroit
Detroit.
and was like, "Oh, you know what I mean? I like the
But
money,
the
but
stats were up, all career high in all aspect, but he was just
no
losing
winning."
games.
So you know what I mean? I don't think he would go that route. I think he would try to still be somewhere where he could win. So I think in that aspect, there is a chance that he would accept, or you know come play for the Knicks.
Well, we'll see what the situation is because if Boston kind of lets him, let him go and become a free agent, then that's a situation where the Knicks could probably nab him. If we got to do a trade or anything with Boston, as much as I hate Boston, same division, Boston is going to want to pull a Jazz on us in order for us to pry that man away.
I think it would be a little bit different in the sense that, well, two things. One, Danny Ainge ain't there no more, right?
It's true.
so
True.
so I think we could probably negotiate a fair deal. And I put that in quotations because that was the quote that was out. They weren't negotiating in good faith. I think they would negotiate in good faith. Um, but it will take a haul, regardless. Like, I don't think it's not going to be a robbery. I don't feel like, um, because I think he's worth the picks. Whether it's three, whether it's four, might be my max, but and it's more because of fit as
Right.
well. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
no,
he
no, it's a
fits
perfect
and
fit, man. Perfect fit.
fits
You-
seamlessly. The next guy they got on the list is the Knicks' most hated player, I guess, Trey Young. Um, I'd pass. I
Yeah.
don't see how he fits.
Yeah.
We got our point guard, uh, heady, high IQ guard. It just doesn't seem like I'm gonna just say no. I don't even gotta
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah. Like
Um,
if you came to me with this about 2 years
pre-run,
ago,
yeah.
then it's something I would look into. But seeing Young and Tibbs, can that work? You know, I don't know. I don't know if that can work. But it would be solid though, because Trey Young is still putting up numbers right now. He's still dropping 30 and 10 a night. But it's just on that defensive end. How would look?
Um, Keith Turner, I just want to ask you: you would pick Levine? Levine's number one on your list out of the guys we went through so far, or that's my question.
It has to be Brown. Brown is number one. Jimmy's two. Zach is three. And who was the next one?
Trey, which I wouldn't even
Yeah,
put him on the
Trey's
list.
last. He's the fifth.
He ain't even on the list for me. uh, who else they got here? Dun, dun, dun,
But
dun.
who knows though? The way Tibbs is talking about this team, Tibbs sounds like he wants to run this team back next year.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think it- even that being said, though, I don't think tweaks and upgrades is, you know what I mean. Like that's always on the table. You could have just won a chip. If you could upgrade, you're
Right.
gonna try
It's
to
true.
upgrade.
It's
You,
true.
you know what I mean? Last guy they got on the list, and then I'm gonna add one or two more, or give you the opportunity to add one or two more. Um, Carl Anthony Towns. Let me start off by saying I've never been high on Carl Anthony Towns. I think we played them early this year, and that might have been the first time because I think he if it wasn't this year, it was last year, late last year. But he opened my eyes, and I kind of was like, all right, I could see him working and fitting on this team. My biggest problem with him is that max contract, man. Um, I'm scared of it. His injury this year in particular, you know what I mean? I don't know if he's necessarily been injury prone, but
He hasn't
he
really.
missed a lot of games this year. Um, but I've always said because Tibbs coached him already, and I don't foresee the front office doing what they did with Cam Reddish and bringing a guy
Right.
in that necessarily the coach was not on the same page about.
Right.
Um, if Tibbs okays it, then I'm okay with it because that means Tibbs, based off his own history of coaching him, knows who Carl Anthony Towns is okay with him defensively, offensively, knows how he could use him on this team. So that's my only thing why I won't be mad if we do it is because I would be under the assumption that Tibbs gave it the stamp
Hmm.
of approval, and that's based off his experience with him already. Um, but he would probably be. He might even be behind Zach Levine on this list for me. Um, it's tough. I go back and forth. I'm scared of both of those guys. I think both of those guys are the two most likely um candidates, if you
Hmm.
will, for the Knicks to pursue in a trade. For a number of reasons, the connections of CAA, Kentucky, whatever. Like I think there's just so many connections, and
Hmm.
that seems to be how the merit that the Knicks use to make the moves that they make based off of connections. So I think those are the two most likely, but I would put Carl. I flip flop back and forth between Carl and Levine. Those contracts and things. It's just question marks there, but I would probably, you know what? He coached Levine too. So again, if Tibbs,
So you know
I'm
them, yeah.
okay. I'm okay with it because I'm under the assumption Tibbs was okay with it.
All right. With Cat will probably get pushed up to, I would say, two. With Brown, Cat, then Zach. The reason why I say with Cat is,
Wait, wait. You had Butler over Zach, right?
I had, yes. So excuse me, yes. So you're right. So it's Brown, Cat, then Butler, then Zach. So 100%. So I would do that order. With Cat though, Cat gives you a need. So it depends. Are we playing Cat at the 5? Is he playing the 4? Either or is still fine with me. More so at the 4 because I don't know if he can play great defense like Mitch can, but he can space the floor. His 3-point shooting is ridiculously solid for a big man. He can post up, draw the double team. Is 7 foot. That can run the floor, dribble, do all the above. So the money is warranted. I'm fine with the money, and the contracts are going to continuously get bigger anyway. And the Knicks, we for some reason we know how to deal with the cap. We got Brunson's contract is receding every year, so it's fine. So yeah, I'll Cat is solid. I like Cat. So yeah, Cat is 2. Brown, Butler, Levine, and Cat. So yeah, but my thing is, I don't even see Minnesota getting rid of Cat though. Him and Anthony Edwards are playing solid together. They're making a playoff run push right now, which is crazy.
Well,
So
he's just coming back, right? He
he's just
couldn't
coming
have
back.
played.
Yeah.
He couldn't have played more than 2, 3 games.
No, he only played I think 2 games.
Yeah, so I,
Um.
I think. I mean, I haven't seen the 2 games. You basing it
Oh,
off
I was
those two?
basing those 2 games. He was
Okay.
he was wilding against the Golden State, and I think it was a game winner he hit prior before that too. So he came back on fire. So yeah, I like Cat. I like Cat.
Um.
But Brown is the ultimate push. You get Brown, Brown takes you to that level of where you're competing
Yeah,
in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I agree. I
Definitely.
agree. So my order is Brown, Butler. Again, I don't know. Cat, Levine, Cat. Either one. I think you could go that way. And I'm not even gonna mention Trey.
Yeah,
I don't.
we
I don't.
we
I don't want that dude.
we not really
State of villain.
definitely.
uh, the next guy I'm gonna add to this list. He wasn't on there, but the way things have been going with this Mavs team, you never know.
Ooh.
You know, Luca might want to reunite with Brunson.
So
Uh,
it's tough.
it's a pipe dream.
It's tough. I don't mean to intervene, but Luca will be 3 on my list. He wouldn't even be 1. And the reason why I say that is with Luca likes to dominate the ball. We already
Mhm.
got Brunson. He don't play defense, which is why Jason Kidd been speaking about that for years, and the fact that he's never really in shape in the beginning of the season. So it's a lot of things surrounding with Luca. Yes, Luca's a top 10 player. Don't let me get that wrong. Top 10 player. Uh, but as crazy as it sounds, but I would rather take Brown, and I would rather take Cat over Luca, even Butler. I'd rather take Jimmy Butler right now, and the Cat agrees with me.
Shout out to Kamal. He says my order is Brown, Brown, then Brown.
Yeah. No, that's it. Like Luca cannot surpass Brown for the fit. Sometimes it's all about fit and not talent.
I don't know if this is a shot or not, but Sherman says Luca plays better defense than Levine.
I don't know about that.
um, I'm probably closer to your point of view on this as well. I feel like I mean I wouldn't mind Luca at all. I just feel like we trade for Luca, we're probably overhauling the whole team.
The whole
I
offense,
mean
yes.
you're gonna have to make. I mean maybe not.
Talk to me.
I
Talk to me.
mean I don't know if him and Randall fit, so you may have to move Randall. Um, can we have? Do we have enough defense uh, to surround Luca?
So then, if we get rid of Randall, you would definitely need to get you a Jay Crowder or someone to that magnitude to play power forward that can guard small forwards and they can switch. So right, because you can't have Luca, Brunson, and Randall. Definitely
Yeah,
not. So
yeah.
yes, you
He's probably low on my list too. Actually, I might even put him at the bottom for the simple fact that I know if we did do the Levine, if we did do the cat, it's based off of Tibbs' stamp of approval. You know what I
mhm.
mean? And him saying, "I know how I could use these guys." That would be my only reasoning in putting him on the bottom of that list. But I don't think it's far fetched that Luca gets lukewarm on the
Man,
Mats.
by all means, if we could pull the trigger, go for it. I'd rather be in a situation where we get him and then we just figure it out rather
Figure it out.
than, if it's an opportunity, he's a superstar. It's plain and simple, he's a superstar. Uh, Lots of fantasy basketball trades. I don't think this is fantasy basketball trades. Luca's definitely being a disgruntled player. He's up there. You clearly see it clear as day. Jalen Brown's another disgruntled player right now with Boston Celtics not wanting to be in Boston. So these are potential situations. Don, these are the stuff of Don, my guy.
And again, I ain't put no trade packages together, so you know what I mean. We just talking. I'm reading this off fan side first off, so it's not like this is my own thoughts. You know what I mean. But I hear you. It, you're just trying to have some fun before this win tonight. Any names you want to throw out there that you think could be
Uh,
disgruntled?
nah. I'm like I said, I'm good with what we got rolling right now. Like you said, these are the players that you kind of named are players that I'm looking at to see with, and I believe the Knicks are even doing their due diligence to check to see on what's the temperature with Brown or with Luca potential situation or what's going on now. So you're always kind of surfacing and looking to lead, but I'm content with what we have right now. It's really about what do we do when we get to the playoffs, this and that. And then of course, once the free agency comes, once someone make a statement, then I can probably better do that. Cause you never know. We don't know what can happen. And the end of the year come out, Philly get eliminated in the first round. Joel, what's the name wants to leave? Embiid might wants to leave, or
That's who I
James
left out.
Harden is a free agent technically after this year, so he might want to go to another team, and then they might have to break things up. So we don't know what can happen in the NBA, as we're doing fantasy draft over here.
Yeah, yeah, that's actually the guy. I forgot is Embiid, which again he probably be number one on not even probably like
And
he
everybody's list, he's number
yeah,
one.
he's number one obviously.
Yeah,
But I think there is a chance, and again, it's not fantasy. I'm just saying these are guys that could potentially ask out. You know what I mean? Whether they ask to come to New York or whether we're involved or not, is another question. But I think a first round exit from Philly, who knows what could happen? Like you mentioned, Harden could dip. There's talks already about him potentially going back to the Rockets. I don't
which
see
don't make
why,
sense, but yeah,
but but that would also tell you that he cares more about peace of mind than a piece of jewelry. You
right,
know what I mean? Like comfortability and just being the guy there. Um,
and no state tax.
no state tax. Saving some money. Different weather out there than Philly for sure. So there's reasons why he would do it. It's just not necessarily basketball reasons. Uh, and then yeah, if he dips, where does that leave Embiid? Um,
But then that's also another team that's in the division as well. So it's a lot. It's a lot.
yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think that's it for today, man. It's a full house of shows. We got Queens Court at 6, I believe. Nothing but Knicks 3:45, I believe. Post game show, losers lounge. Solution when you doing your next recording.
I'm gonna do a live play by play tonight, actually, for tonight's game. I've been knocking that out recently. It's been a good turnovers, a lot of emotions, a lot of up and down during the game. So hopefully we get back to winning. So, but yeah, I'll be on for tonight's game.
There you go, delusional Knicks fan. Check them out if you haven't. Subscribe. You know what I mean. Share. What does still Knicks fan say? Tell a friend to tell a friend, right?
Tell a friend to tell a friend.
Appreciate you guys for joining, and yeah, we out of here until we got another 2 hours to the next show. Oh, I want to shout out Josh. Josh did a controversy yesterday, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, Usually I do not agree with Josh's takes, but I think he was spot on for the most part. Go check that controversy out. Um, Shout out to Eru too. I think he's feeling better. Um, Shout out to everybody in Nick Station, man. We gonna write this shit tonight. Losers Lounge tonight. We out.